Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
Cricket explained for baseball fans. Jeez, I got recommended this a while back, and I'm watching it right now. Let's go, guys. To be honest, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but I sure as hell know a lot more about baseball than I do about cricket, so the comparison will be helpful.
And if you already know baseball.
All right, to get this started,
Cricket explained if you already know baseball.
All right, to get this started, I want you to imagine a game much like baseball, except there are only two bases, and they're basically where home plate is and where the pitcher's mound is. To score a run in this game, you simply have to reach the next base. So if you put the ball in play and you make it to the pitcher's mound, that's a run. And then if you're able to make it back to home plate, then you score 2 runs on that play. This game is played in the middle of an oval, so there's no foul area.
Going.
You can hit the ball behind you, you can hit it to the side or whatever. And in this game, the pitchers are allowed to bounce the ball. If you can picture this game in your mind, you are 75% of the way to understanding cricket. The rest of it is details.
Okay.
Before we get started, I just want to say that I'm going to be explaining this like I would to a friend of mine who knows baseball and wants to know about cricket. I'm probably going to be switching between baseball and cricket terminology a little bit more freely than maybe somebody who's a hardcore cricket fan might be comfortable with. Feel free to correct me in the comments, but what might be more fun is if you made a companion video that explains baseball in reverse. All right, let's get started.
Basic gameplay.
So cricket is a game played between two teams of 11 players. When a team is fielding, all 11 of its players are on the field at the same time. 9 players are out in the field at the various positions, and then there's one bowler, who is basically the pitcher, and one wicketkeeper, who is basically the catcher. And then the team that is batting has 2 players at bat at any given time. These batters stand at opposite ends of the pitch, which is a narrow rectangle that's in the middle of the oval that is the cricket field. At the ends of the pitch are 2 wickets, which are these little structures that have 3 stumps and 2 bails. The stumps are the 3 pieces of wood that
It reminds me of like baseball and croquet combined or
are
something.
in the ground, and the bails are the bails. The stumps are the 3 pieces of wood that are in the ground, and the bails are these 2 little pieces of wood that rest on top of the stumps.
You're gonna knock them off?
A play begins when the bowler, which is basically the pitcher, bowls the ball to the batter. The bowler is ultimately trying to break the wicket, which would get the batter out, and more on that later. The batter is trying to protect the wicket and put the ball in play. If the ball is put in play and the batter and the teammate are able to switch places, so basically assume the other one's position, the team has scored a run. And if they can do that again, then they score 2, and if they do that again, they score 3, etc. There are no strikes in cricket. The batter can just choose not to swing if they don't want to.
Okay,
And there's
so
no penalty.
so it's 1 point when they both switch sides.
Strikes in
Okay.
cricket, the batter can just choose not to swing if they don't want to. And there's no penalty for hitting a batter with a legally thrown ball. Batters are expected to protect the wicket and not let themselves get hit. In fact, as we'll see in a little bit, there are actually situations where a batter can be called out if they allow themselves to be hit with the ball. There is the equivalent of a ball.
Yeah,
in
I'll react to
cricket.
that,
It's
sure.
called a
Sorry, guys, that's my other video.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. That was my other video. Sorry about that.
wide ball. There is the equivalent of a ball in cricket. It's called a wide. And if the umpire has determined that the bowler has bowled the ball wide, 1 run is awarded to the batting team. There's also something in cricket called a no ball, which is when the umpire has determined that the ball has been delivered illegally. And there's a couple dozen different
Stepped over
reasons
the
why
line.
an umpire might call a no ball. If the umpire calls a no ball, just like a wide, 1 run is awarded to the batting team. In cricket, the batters stay on the field until they are out.
So the ball has to be away from your hand, has to have left your hand before you cross this white line.
In cricket, the batters stay on the field until they are out. So they continue to bat and score runs until they are put out. This means that just like in baseball, a batter can be out with one single swing of the bat, or they can stay at bat, I guess forever. But it's common for a batter to score between like 20 and 50 runs in an at bat, and it's not unheard of for a batter to hit 100. This is called a century, and it's very fun.
The boundary.
Along the perimeter of the cricket field is the boundary. This can be a rope or a little cushion type thing, or it could be a short fence or a wall. When a ball is put in play and it reaches or goes past the boundary, that is called a boundary. A ball that rolls and hits or passes the boundary or bounces over the boundary like a ground rule double is worth 4 runs for the batting team. A ball that is hit over the boundary.
Okay, so even if it's going slow enough and the ball hits the boundary but doesn't go over it, it's still a
and hits or
run.
passes the boundary or bounces over the boundary like a ground rule double
sweaters.
is worth 4 runs for the batting team. A ball that is hit over the boundary, so basically like a home run, is worth 6 runs for the batting team.
Okay. I'm following.
Outs.
There are several ways that a batter or runner can get put out in cricket, and they boil down to 2 basic categories. A batter can be caught out, which is just like baseball. They hit a ball in the air and a fielder catches it. Or they can be
No
out
gloves.
if the fielding team knocks the bails off the stumps of the wicket when you are in a position where that could put you out. There's a few different ways this could happen. You could be fielding team knocks the bails off the stumps of the wicket when you are in a position where that could put you out.
Okay.
There's a few different.
So does this mean you want 2 batters that are similarly fast? Or it just both runners have to be safe in order for it to count?
Ways this could happen.
Or wait, no. Can you get this guy out, or only this guy?
You could be run out. This is where you are trying to score a run, but they knock the ball into the wicket before you reach the crease that defines the place where you are safe.
And you can do it.
By the way, the bat is part of your body when determining whether or not you are safe. You can be bowled out.
So does this mean you have an advantage if you're taller and lengthier? Because it's not that big of a distance. So even a few inches of reach, I think, could probably give you a
And
pretty
these are
big
very
advantage.
exciting. This is where the bowler sends the ball to you, and the ball bounces past you and knocks the bails off the stumps. A batter can also be put out by the wicket keeper if the batter moves past this line here called the popping crease, and the wicket keeper gains possession of the ball and knocks the bails off the stumps. This is called being stumped out. A batter line here called the popping crease, and the wicketkeeper gains possession of the ball and knocks the bails off the stumps. This is called being stumped out. A batter can also be called out if they allow the ball to hit them, and the umpire determines that the ball would have knocked the bails off the stumps if the batter had not interfered with their body.
And if it hits off of them and into the
This
stump,
is called a leg
then
before
it's an out.
wicket. So those are the most common ways that you will see a batter or runner get put out by the fielding team. There are several other much less common ways for a batter to get out, and we will not be getting into them here. One major difference between baseball and
it seems like this could, because depending on, how nice wherever you're playing cricket is, it feels like you would either want to play this on like a concrete, I'm imagine like if you're a kid and you're with your friends and you're like 12 years old and you want to play cricket and you don't have this professional field. Well, any grass field that is kind of lumpy on the pitch is really going to change how confident you are with the trajectory of the ball when it bounces. So I'd imagine you'd either play it on a concrete asphalt top if you don't have a really nice field.
cricket is in cricket here. One major difference between baseball and cricket is in cricket, if the fielding team thinks they have gotten a batter or runner out, they first have to appeal to the umpire who will confirm whether or not the batter or runner is out. So if a batter or runner would be out, but no one on the fielding team notices it, then play just continues and the umpire will not just like call them out. When a player is put out, the bowling and fielding team is said to have taken the wicket and the batting and running team is said to have lost the wicket.
It looks pretty cool, not gonna lie.
Wicket and the batting and running team is said to have lost the wicket.
Overs.
Each series of 6 pitches or deliveries, which are called balls, is called an over. Each over has only one bowler, and each bowler only bowls one over at a time. So after a bowler has delivered 6 balls, they take up position in the field, and another player comes in to be the bowler for the next over. A bowler can field.
I actually really like the if it hits you rule, because it gives like the batter a second thing to think about other than just hitting the ball, knowing that, oh, if it's going towards your knees and you think it's going to go, I mean, you get out of the way if you think it's going to go away from you. Or if the trajectory isn't going for the wickets and it hits you, then it doesn't matter, right? Because the umpire won't call it. But also, if it is, you got to quickly like move kind of awkwardly and get your paddle in the way.
Has delivered 6 balls. They take up position in the field, and another player comes in to be the bowler for the next over. A bowler can field for an over and then come back to bowl again, but a bowler may not bowl 2 consecutive overs. If you're comparing this all to baseball, overs are similar to individual at-bats in terms of the flow of the game, right? It's like one series of deliveries that everyone's watching, and then there's a brief pause while a new player comes on, and then there's a next set of deliveries that everyone's watching. The difference, of course, is that it's the bowlers, the pitchers that are coming in and out, and not the batters.
Formats.
Beyond everything that has been explained so far, the majority of the details of the game that you watch will depend on the format of cricket that
How fast are they throwing the ball? Does anyone know? Like the average
game that you watch will depend on.
And I would like to know, like, what is the ball made out of? Is it more rubbery or is it more hard? And how heavy is it?
The format, majority of the details of the game that you watch will depend on the format of cricket that you're watching. There are 2 basic formats of the game of cricket. There's first class cricket and there's limited overs cricket. First class cricket is what a lot of people think of when they think of cricket. We're talking about the games that go on for several days. Everyone is wearing white. Maybe the Queen shows up. And first class cricket is most associated with the 5-day long test matches that international teams play against one another.
So the really good teams are Pakistan and India, right? Or is England better? Who else plays cricket? Maybe South Africa, Australia, New Zealand? But when I think of cricket, my mind goes to Pakistan and India.
They're scheduled for 5 days, but they might be completed before that. At the beginning of the first day, there's a coin toss to determine which team goes first, and then the sides alternate going through their entire batting order. This happens twice, so each team goes through its batting order twice for a total of 4 innings. Unless the team that goes second scores more runs than the team that went first, in which case they don't have to actually finish their entire innings. They just win the game. That was very simplified. The rules governing test matches could be their own 15-minute video. The other format of cricket is limited overs cricket, where each team is limited to a certain number of overs, and each innings comes to an end when the specified number of overs has been reached.
Sorry, guys. Has anyone ever done
own 15-minute video. The other form.
Has anyone ever timed it perfectly and like the ball bounces and is going this way and he turns and smacks it to like hitting it directly backwards, like 180 degrees backwards? That'd be really cool. Probably wouldn't happen, intentionally when you're waiting to hit it, but that'd be cool.
Format of cricket is limited overs
You know what I mean?
cricket, where each team is limited to a certain number of overs, and each innings comes to an end when the specified number of overs has been reached, or when all of the batters are out, whichever comes first.
Sorry, guys. Continue.
There are several types of limited overs cricket, but there are two that you are most likely to see. The first of these are the one-day internationals, or ODI. These are played between national teams, and each team has 50 overs. And then there's also T20 cricket, which is 2020 cricket, where both teams get only 20 overs. This style of cricket was invented to be more exciting and more fast-paced, and to put the length of an individual match around the same as other common sporting events around the world. An easy way to know whether you're watching a test match or a limited overs match is whether the teams are wearing white or colors. And if you are watching a professional match, you're almost definitely watching a T20 match.
Scorekeeping.
All right, pay attention, because this is maybe the most confusing part of all of this. The scorekeeping. So at the bottom of the screen, you'll see it says
118,
India,
five.
and it says 118 for 5. This does not mean
Five
that
overs?
the score is 118 runs to
So
5
for 5 overs, 118.
runs. No, this means that India has scored 118 runs for 5 wickets, which means that 5 of their batters have been put out. Then it says first innings, so this is the first innings of this match. Then it says England 287. So that's how many
So 5 batters have scored. So in the first inning, 5 batters have scored 118 points.
runs England scored in their innings. And since
Okay.
this is a test match, both teams will play 2 innings. Then you've got information about the 2 batsmen that are currently up and how many runs they've scored so far. Then at the end, it says Broad 0 for 24. This means that Broad, the bowler, has taken 0 wickets so far and has allowed 24 runs. And
Surprised it doesn't add the dash, whatever, how many batters it took to hit 287. I guess that's not important.
then the 0 wickets so far
Oh, wait. Okay.
and has allowed
So in order to know... Okay, never mind.
24 runs. And then the 15 o'clock so far and
I
has
gotcha.
allowed 24 runs. And then the 15 o'clock over there, that's just the time of the day. It's 3 p.m. Now, for a limited overs match, there's a little bit more information that you need to know. So here you go. Down at the bottom, it says England. This is another game between England and India. It's a women's game. So it says England 103 for 4. So that means that they've scored 103 runs for 4 wickets. P2, don't worry about what that means yet. Then it says 24.3 of 50. That means that we are 24 overs and 3 deliveries into this innings. And then the 50 means that this innings will have at most 50 overs, right? Because this is a one-day international. Then it says target 222. This means that India went first and scored 222 runs. So that's how many runs England has to score to win. And from there, it's pretty much the same as the test match we just saw. Just be careful, because if you're watching an Australian broadcast, the scores are reversed, and the wickets are first and the runs are second. So on this one, it says Ren, that's the Renegades, that's one of the teams, 5 for 135. So it's 5 wickets for 135 runs. So just be careful, it might be confusing.
Some
AFC
final
BBL.
similarities and differences.
All right, that's basically it. I thought that we would end this video with a few more
Okay.
similarities
You know?
and differences between baseball and cricket. One major difference is that in cricket, if a ball is in play, the runners are not compelled to move, right? You only run if you think you can make a run. One similarity is that every cricket ground has different dimensions and a different shape. And much like in baseball, this means that certain cricket grounds are more favorable or less favorable to different play styles. Another
I like
difference
that.
is that
That's one of the things, few things, I guess, I like about golf and tennis is that there is legitimate differences based on the court, you know, whether it's a clay court or grass court or, you know, asphalt, or whether there's, you know, obviously different golf courses have different holes. I like the variety. I like that factor that is, you know, into it. I don't think it, I think it only makes it more interesting.
In cricket, the positions refer to places on the field and not necessarily the individual fielders. So if baseball had a similar thing, like you would not be the shortstop for your team. You would just be a fielder who would be playing shortstop position. And then if your team was in a shift or whatever, maybe you would be said that you were in the second base position. Or maybe for one batter, you would be in the shallow mid outfield position, right? Another similarity is that in cricket, players on field and off the field behavior is governed by an old-fashioned sense of propriety that's not unlike the unwritten rules in baseball. And the final difference that's probably become clear to you as you watch this video is that cricket is a much more international game than baseball.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to say that it is...
Though Japan, holy crap, they're pretty darn good at baseball. And baseball actually is pretty, it's popular in Central and South America. Obviously, it's popular in the Americas and in Japan and like South Korea, I think. So it's definitely more international than, say, American football or something.
More popular in more countries than baseball, although this might also be true. What I mean by this is that international competitions, so competitions between national teams, are the norm. They're not like a special thing that everyone tunes into every 4 years.
That's
Professional cricket is a relatively new phenomenon in the world, and while leagues are becoming much more popular these days, it wasn't very long ago that professional cricket was looked upon as diluting the purity of the game. All right, baseball fan, you have just become a cricket master and you are ready to watch any cricket game that comes across
I
your
definitely feel confident enough to watch one and not be totally lost, for sure.
television. If you are a cricket fan and you notice that I got something wrong, which I probably have,
It's for
or
beginners.
that I left something out, which I probably did, feel free to let me know in the comments. Although, like I said before, it might be more fun for you to just make your own companion video. I would love to watch a video where an actual lifelong cricket fan tries to explain cricket for baseball fans, or tries to explain baseball for cricket fans.
Yeah, it was nice. I like that a lot. Love y'all. Hope you guys are all doing well. Would appreciate any comments down below. If I ever looked super confused, you guys are pretty good at noticing that and helping me out. Hope everyone's doing well. See you guys next time. Bye.